I'm gonna in a minute. We're gonna put on our game face, and then I'm gonna pretend that the show has just started and introduce my friends, and then we'll somehow circle around to introducing you, and stuff will then happen. From that point on, we haven't really thought ahead.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Bye. See ya.
We'll try to be gentle. We swear.
Okay.
Well, one of us does. Hello and welcome to Backseat Designers Season V episode. We're not doing episode numbers. We are currently sitting down. We have had our pre-show laughs, so there will be no laughs during this show. This is a very serious show. We are all very cognizant of this fact. I am joined by one of the most serious people I know. That is Mr. Frederick Olsen.
Hello.
And also the man who can look serious even while wearing a stupid mitten that looks like a fist, Dr. Gareth Millwood.
Schadenfreude.
And we are very excited today to be talking with a person who is probably better at grammar than I am. Look, we're not even 2 minutes into this and already stuffed up grammar the first time.
Canadian French.
Canadian French, yes.
Hashtag second.
My excuses. And third and fourth and fifth. My excuse is that I have a cold. We are very excited to be able to talk to a person who has not only designed, written, drawn, and probably not scored. I don't know. We'll get into that. She's done pretty much everything on a game that she has also self-published. So she is, in fact, what we might like to call in this industry a true auteur. It is Miss Charlotte Gore. Good evening.
Hello. Although I like to describe myself as completely exhausted. That's yes.
Yep. Do you put that on the business card?
My business card says techno bard.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? I tried to think of what my job description actually was, and I went, okay.
I'm just
techno bard?
Imagining
like the techno Viking, but more bardy.
I'm imagining the guy from the Asterix comics pumping out hard to some scooter or something.
Yeah, me too.
That is very me, actually. Yeah.
I was imagining some Renaissance fair, green clothing, tassels everywhere, and just this pumping techno beat.
That's my mum, that is.
You basically described Osric tentacles.
But I should apologize, by the way. If my cat gets in on this, then we're going to have a few meow bombs.
The second episode we recorded of this series, we had a child that was bombing the interview, so we can deal with a cat, I think.
Yeah, right. I mean, we are recording this, in fact, on the International Women's Day, so, I mean, what better occasion for a...
I resign. That's it. I quit. I'm going to need the money. I'm going to double the fee now. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the other awful bit. There is, in fact, no payment on its way. Trolls may have lied about that.
Yes.
He did. He said, what did you say? You said 20,000 krona or something.
Yeah. No, I was, in fact, lying a lot.
That's only about £8.50 anyway.
Yeah. But we might as well. If
I would take the £8.50. If there's £8.50 going, I'll take £8.50. I will, honest.
You know what? Just for that joke, I will PayPal you right this minute.
No.
But in the I'll just buy your game a second time. We might as well actually get it. If Mr. Pussy is going to make an appearance, we might as well introduce him by name.
You're talking about my cat?
Yes.
Oh, right,
yeah. No, you can
I thought you were referring to me.
I was like, I wonder who Mr. Pussy is. I thought he was the guy who made the pussy joke, you know. My cat's not Mr. Pussy. My cat's called Jeff Goldblum. He's a cat who doesn't know that he's called Jeff Goldblum. He doesn't answer to it. He doesn't answer to anyone. He doesn't answer to anything. He is his own thing. He's his own little creature. That I call Jeff Goldblum, but I may as well just make a noise.
Well, it would be interesting with a cat that kind of had a Jeff Goldblum thing going for him. You come home and your cat is like talking to a journalist going, what am I working on?
No, you're right. That's what I wanted. When I named Jeff Goldblum, that's literally what I told him I wanted to happen. I was very explicit. I said, look, when I come home, I want you to be having like really sexy interviews with journalists and going, what you just did. But there's not having any of it. He just hangs around being furry. That's it.
The rails that this show was on are now way off in the distance somewhere, being swallowed up by the horizon.
Let's rewind it a bit before gratuitous Jeff Goldblum and pussy and whatnot.
Just edit it out. It's fine.
You mentioned another interesting word, Trolls, which was auteur. And the insinuation appears to be that our friend Charlotte here is pretty much such an auteur.
Yes, although I don't think she would agree with friend.
I was going to say that's going a bit far.
Yes, but yeah.
I mean, auteur is a very strong word, and I wouldn't go that far. So, but
I think
it's more of a necessity. So I'm more just like a hacker, basically, just a generic, like a maker. It needs doing. I just do it, and if I don't know how to do it, I will just learn, and that's it. And that's all I've ever done my entire life. I've just never been afraid of just learning how to do stuff by reading it. And like anything you want to learn is just on there on the internet. You just go on Google, have a search, and that's it. Before you know it, you've learned, you've leveled up. You can learn how to do brain surgery from Google if you read. That's my ambition.
I love the phrase "go on Google."
Go on Google.
I just like the idea that if this whole game design thing doesn't pan out, you can always just open up a heart surgery clinic in your basement or something.
I mean, it's always there. I mean, the neighbours, they'd be, if the an HSQ gets a bit long, you never know. Breaks up and all that, things could get bad. Could be a place for a Google-trained surgeon. You know what I mean?
Alexa, please tell me what this aorta does. Processing. Now, I think maybe the first thing we should do is maybe have you just briefly tell the audience about what is the game that is going to put you on the map, so to speak. What is that you've unleashed upon Steam?
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Well, yeah. So it's called Yorkshire Gubbins.
Pronounced that way.
So
you're laughing at.
I've rarely experienced Gareth being so happy.
It's just the accent makes everything better, and Yorkshire Gubbins is such a great name for a game.
Yorkshire Gubbins. It's just, I don't know. It just made the whole thing just makes me laugh. Just the fact that it exists at all just amuses me no end. But basically, I just thought it'd be really funny I just wanted to make a game set where I live, because no one had ever really done it before, and it's got its own look. It kind of looks, it's very beige around here. It's all hills and beige and dry stone walls and trees, and it's just got this whole. And we've got this accent, which, of course, no one could understand until Game of Thrones came along, and then Game of Thrones came along and showed the world this accent, because this is basically. This is the accent from Wall and Winterfell, So, so I just thought, wow, there's going to be a market for that. Like millions and millions of people watch Game of Thrones, and if I tell them they can buy a point and click adventure with the same accent as that lot, I'm going to sell like at least 10 copies. You know what I mean? And I have.
Is this why Richard Cobbett keeps saying winter is coming?
I don't know. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. Winter's here. Actually, it's been snowing again today, so it's
we've been
it's
waiting
feeling
for
proper Norfolk wool.
I mean, those of us who have watched the show have been waiting for 6 fucking seasons, and then winter came, and now we have to wait 2 years or something. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but
It's like trying to catch a bus in Leeds.
Yes, true.
Regional humor.
That would be a pretty.
Sorry.
Don't actually want to catch a bus round here, because bus drivers round here, they look down on you for getting on a bus, because it's like, oh my god, you're getting on a bus? What? You got a car? You scum.
I'm just kind of imagining everything you're saying now as Game of Thrones catchphrases.
I would love that. Just
imagine me sat here dressed like a wildling, just kind of like with a big parka on, and just like covered in furs and leathers and things. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. It's pretty much what I look like anyway, in fairness, especially with the hair kind of just all.
And it would be pretty great if House Stark's motto was, "It's like trying to catch a bus in Leeds."
I just want one, leather-clad, scruffy-looking person with a sword to barge through some medieval doors and just shout, "You're getting on a bus!"
Well, from my point of view, right? So, if you're like a fancy American type, then fantasy to you is kind of, it's Yorkshire, isn't it? It's where I live. It's like people dressed up in furs and talking like me. Whereas, like, from my point, I don't know. So I thought, like, to me, Yorkshire's the new front in sci-fi. It's where all the actors are going to be. Yorkshire punk is going to be a thing, I promise you.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's totally going to be the next thing. It's going to be like, forget steampunk, forget cyberpunk, Yorkshire punk. Just like people, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I can tell.
I'm going to be able to double the amount I've sold from 10 to 20. It's going to be amazing. So,
but just to clear things up, your game does not actually have dragons and leather-clad Danish actors with swords.
It's just got like old people in, and people with just like big bums and just like beer bellies. And just like they're just normal people. Like there's a couple in the game called Walter and Wendy, and they kind of look like a vampire and a witch, but they're not a vampire and a witch. They're just like LARPers. They just like pretending. That's it. But because it's just normal, it's normal life. That's the idea. I wanted it to be like the world is, to me. But
is that why everyone bobs up and down like they're half submerged in water? That's me being that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing. Do we want to discuss that? Yeah, we can wait. We
can talk about the art. The bobbing up and down thing. That's just me being rubbish at art. I'm going to be honest with you. But edit that out, please. I don't want to admit that I'm rubbish at art. Although I've literally just told a journalist that my whole game looks like crap, and I really shouldn't have done. I really shouldn't have done that. That was really dumb. I'm just like really bad at dealing with journalists and stuff. It's just awful. I'm just too honest all the time. I just tell people exactly what I think, and then it all goes terribly wrong because I think stupid stuff.
Well, you have come to the right show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I've come to the right genre as well. I think, when I was thinking about everything that's wrong with me and thinking, well, I want to make a game. What kind of game should I make? It just all came together. As soon as I thought point and click adventure, I was like, yeah, that's me. That's the home for me.
And you've did you create the engine on your own? I know you did this game in Unity, but is it an engine?
No, I
of your
didn't.
creation?
It's the whole thing's custom completely. There's from top to bottom.
Oh, it's not even Unity. It's
not even Unity. No, even the actual graphics engine is all completely me. So it's all custom. I mean, it's been developed over years. It started out as just like a little 2D engine that I was doing for like Ludum Dare games.
All right, yeah.
And and I kind of, for the 2017's Adventure Jam, honestly, it was just like I was working on VR stuff and I just had this real sort of, I don't know, I wanted to do pixel art again. I thought I really miss doing pixel art. I'm sick of VR, it's rubbish. So I'm going to I want to do an adventure game. And I thought, I don't know, I'll do this Adventure Jam and I'll just quickly hack in a bunch of stuff into this platform game engine, just to sort of see if I could make it into like a point, like a Scum style verb system. And just see what I could do. So I spent the 2 weeks and just sort of made this little jam game. And I just kind of wanted to see whether or not like adventure game players would be okay with a point and click adventure that looked that kind of weird. Like I don't do 2.5D. I don't have any depth. Everything's just completely flattened down to just being like one single plane. It's like it looks like a platform game. I mean, the background's made of tiles and everything. It's just like, but to me, the way that I look at it is that I can do that really quick. It's really cheap. I can just like knock this stuff out really fast. I don't have to get bogged down in just like paying a fortune to have artists do elaborate backgrounds. I thought I just want to make a game where it's all about the characters and the dialogue and just trying to make people laugh and stuff. That was all it was really. But yeah, the whole thing. So after the jam, I kind of went a bit mad. And I made my own programming language to script the humble pie in. That was a bit dumb, but I needed to do it, so I did that.
I just like the preface is in there that you went mad and then you made your own programming language.
No, it's insane. It's completely insane. There's no humanly good reason to ever do this kind of thing, but I just kind of wanted to. I wanted to have a system that would just let me write dialogue, easily and not get bogged down with coding and stuff. I just wanted to be able to just write dialogue as easily as I would as if I was writing it into just like a normal script. You know what I mean? If I was writing a TV show or something.
Right.
So.
And it's kind of funny because I kind of got that vibe. We had an episode about game engines on our previous season where we talked to a guy called Randall Trulson. And, well, I think most people who have coded their own engines pretty much, the lesson that they take away from it that they want to pass on to everyone else is never, ever do this.
Yeah. Just do anything.
Never do it. It's so dumb. So dumb.
Actually, Randall really loves his game engine. He is convinced that it's better than Unreal and Unity all packed together.
Okay. No, that's fine. I mean, he's welcome to. I mean, I'm sure it probably is, but I just know that, like, if the money goes, when the money inevitably runs out, then I need to get a job, and I'm the only person who works on that engine, so it's not very good.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's a bit bad.
Also, Yorkshire, Hold'em with Us Kimoni, the Adventure Jam game that you did, actually got very well received, and I guess that must have been like the kick in the nads to the kick in the. Sorry, I forgot what gender we're talking to go off and do like a proper full game.
I think in Yorkshire it's the kick up the butt or the kick up the bum. Kick up the bum. That's what it is. It was.
You want to definitely kick someone up the bum. You don't want to kick someone in the nats or that whole region because frankly that's not very motivating.
No, I think that slows you down in general. I think.
Yeah,
that's
does.
like one of those things
that
stops you from doing things.
Yes,
but yeah, it was.
exactly.
So I did this. I did this Holy Mollusk Kimoni game, and people actually really liked it. I mean, I don't know if everybody loved it, but I mean, there were a lot of people that really, really liked it. And I was like, okay, so people can. This is fine. This is fine. This is okay. I've got this weird way. I've got all this stuff that lets me actually do voices because that was the big thing. As long as I could put real voices in, as long as I could put a proper Yorkshire accent in it, and that was it. That was all I needed. So as long as they were happy with that, then screw it. I'm gonna go and make a big one. So that's where Yorkshire Gubbins came from. So just trying to sort of do that, but slightly better and a bit nicer. And like I said, I went a bit mad, but I got there in the end, and I'm still adding more stuff to it now. So.
And one of the things I really appreciated about both the Adventure Jam game that you did, and which is also in Yorkshire Gubbins as I'm going to say Gubbins. It's the accent thing. Gubbins. I'm gonna try to do it. Yorkshire Gubbins. That just sounds fucking ridiculous when I do it.
You sound posh.
I do, don't I? Well,
it's okay. I mean, that's why I deliberately got people to spell it. I mean, they actually pronounce it wrong in the game. I got a robot that says like it's Yorkshire Gubbins. It's because it just makes me laugh to sort of plant the wrong pronunciation in people's heads. That's funny.
Oh, I love the trailer for the game as well. The entire trailer was just this person standing silently, not silently, just standing completely still, telling you it's pronounced Gubbins.
Gubbins. Oh yeah, that was
just
great.
over and over again. That was the trailer.
I loved that guy. I sort of went onto Fiverr and just found this voice actor guy and just gave him this rubbish script to read out. And just because that's the thing, I've got the tech that I've got lets me sort of take any kind of voice sample and then just quickly add lip syncing to it and just animate any old character to it. I mean, it's all just a side effect of the actual game engine. So I was trying to use that to make an actual trailer. So I thought it'd be really funny to have just someone come along and try and explain how to pronounce Yorkshire Gubbins, because I knew that Americans just wouldn't be able to do it. I just knew that they would struggle with it. And
Danes do too, apparently.
Well, because you all sound American, though. You all learn English in an American accent for some reason.
Yes, it's real. Now we're talking insane, right?
No, I mean, I don't blame you. You don't want to sound like flipping English people. We're rubbish. I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
Mental.
Yeah, from hanging out with Gareth, I have learned that is in fact true. Although I sympathise, of course. And the thing I wanted to say actually was complimentary. Is that the thing that really sells your games and the thing that really sold me on both the Adventure Jam game and the full game is, like you said, it's about characters, but more than that, it's the fact that you are really tremendously funny. And it is.
Oh no, don't say that. That's terrible. Don't put any expectations on people. That's terrible.
Fuck it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
No.
It is tremendously funny.
Oh, you've done it now. You've just given me permanent writer's block forever now. That's it. How the hell am I supposed to sort of follow that up? Bloody hell. Thanks, trolls. You've just killed my career.
Fred. Say goodbye, Gareth. End the episode.
That is such an English attitude. No, don't try and sell my game. It's only going to cause more trouble.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad you understand, Gareth. I'm glad you understand.
Someone here has to.
Solidarity, pressure. Yeah. No one needs it. No one needs pressure.
Well, he's been picketing all day. He's still in the solidaric mood.
The picketing. Oh, yeah, that's well, congratulations.
Well, still don't have a fucking pension.
Oh no! Is that what you're picketing for your pension?
Yeah.
God.
I thought it was for paid bathroom breaks. What the fuck are you guys on?
Well,
technically,
if I want a pension, it started off as paid bathroom breaks and it's expanded. We stuck with pensions in the end.
By the time this episode comes out, the riot police will have showed up and shoved that weird foam finger glove thing up your bum.
And there will be someone there in that picket that's not meant to be there, that's just been handed a sign. Yes. Pleased that the police are coming to break it up. It's like, I'm not even supposed to be here.
And there will alternately be juggling doves or someone juggling doves as light entertainment.
Previously, in the green room to this episode.
When am I going to be able to put in the song? I'm going to perform a song for you. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to perform the song.
The talent portion will come in at the end.
I'm going to do some juggling for you guys. So
These are my trained doves. I will now juggle them.
Yes.
I hope they don't bite.
You have to freeze the doves first, though.
I just imagine these stagehands pushing in this giant ice box and open them up, and there's these absolutely frozen doves with like stalactites hanging off of them. And
seriously though, if you do try and sorry, I'm just like, oh god, this has got to go into a game. Hang on. I'm cracking up at just the idea of juggling doves, just because it just sounds so funny as well. Hey, up! I need to juggle some doves. It's just like so funny.
It sounds funny in both ways because someone juggling doves sounds funny, but juggling doves actually also sounds funny. Like, what are the doves juggling? Like, are they juggling now?
Oh God, juggling doves. Yeah. Oh, it's just the Yorkshire thing. I've got to look. I'm on the lookout for things that just sound especially stupid in my accent.
Just imagine walking down a street and you hear and there's like a dove with a couple of knives.
And there's a dude standing next to him going, "Don't talk to him. He's concentrating." You know what happened to the last one?
Oh god, this is just like we're just constantly inventing puzzles here. This is what this is all about. This is good. This is all stuff I can put in a game.
Gabriel should not touch the juggling dove.
And now, the conclusion.
No, really, I wanna step back a bit before it started being about picketing. Because you were talking a bit about Steam and you were talking about money in relation to your own game engine and making everything on your own without delving into any numbers, because that's quite personal. How has it worked out for you, in terms of being all alone about this and having these expenses and making this game and selling it and promoting it on your own? How does the bottom line look?
Not good. Not good at all. I don't actually know the exact numbers. I leave all that stuff to my boss, who is also me, but my boss is completely lackadaisical and just will not look. So, it's not good. It's not brilliant. I think I made a terrible mistake. So my thinking is that the adventure game community and the gaming community at large don't know who I am. I'm a nobody. I've got no track record. I've never done anything before that anyone's really heard of. And I sort of thought that the way to do this was to get Yorkshire Gubbins out with the Verb School and Humble Pie and Holy Molluscamoni in it, and then kind of add more stuff into it in the hopes that every time I add something to it, then the people who've already got it will be like, oh, brilliant, there's a new thing. And, do you know what I mean? Just kind of try and build something up for it. That was the theory. That's the theory anyway. I don't know if it's going to work or not because I've not released anything extra yet, but that's the plan. And every single time I add something, it's an opportunity to sort of go back to a journalist and say, right, well, you didn't listen to me last time, but come on, here's another chance for you to do a piece on it, or else I'll send my cat round, So that's the theory. But the problem with this is that, okay, so my business model is I'm just charging one flat fee for Yorkshire Gubbins. I'm not going to be charging people for this extra stuff. I'm just going to add it in for free. And I charged for just the 3 things that were in it to start with. I didn't charge for the full thing. If it had everything in it, it would technically cost a lot more. But I just thought, you don't trust me. You don't know who I am. You don't know if I'm going to deliver anything else. So just charge for what's in there. So that's my ethical newbie game dev thing. All I've got to do at the moment, money's not as important as just kind of building some kind of, I don't know, audience, reputation, fans. I don't know I don't know what you need if you're a game dev, something like that. People everywhere.
So kind of looking at it as if you were kind of like a small band or a stand-up comedian, that kind of thing.
That is literally exactly it. Yeah, I think the new gaming indie thing is pub band rules. You go from pub to pub and you don't really make any money, but you just make fans 1 or 2 at a time. Do you know what I mean? You just go from place to place, and it's grind, it's hard work, and you just do it over and over and over and over and just slowly build up your audience that way. I don't know if there's any other way to do it these days. I think the days of just you get on Steam and you sell 20,000 copies, they're gone. And you can't just having a good game is not enough anymore. Yorkshire Gubbins is sitting there on Steam. It's at 100. It's got 100 reviews, and they're all positive. It's 100% very positive, and that's wonderful. And that's probably the main reason why I'm still happy and working on it. Do you know what I mean? Even if the money's not there, that just the thought that people actually like this stupid rubbish is amazing. But that's all there is to it. If on the other hand, if I was going to try and make a success of this, then what I would need to do is make a game that costs about the same as Yorkshire Gubbins does and just keep putting that out pretty much once a month, that kind of thing. That's pretty much what I'd have to do to make it properly viable at the moment, based on the actual number of people who've heard of me, which is, I think, about 3 people. I think I'm talking to them. So that's So, but it's difficult and it's hard. But at the end of the day, this is what I want to. This is my art. I'm going to say very pretentiously. It's my quest.
So quest is a good one.
It's my mission.
The auteur's quest.
I just have this stupid idea for it. This is what I want to make. I just had this really weird, clear vision of a particular type of game with a particular type of humor and a particular type of art that you just can't get anywhere else. And it's because I know it's the first time I've ever been able to make a game where it sounds like me. I don't mean my accent. I mean, it's my sense of humor, and it's kind of just it's all my friends and it's all my family and it's everything weird that I've ever loved, and it's all just in one big stupid package. I should say that there are robots in and monsters, and they don't technically exist in Yorkshire, but in many respects, I'm going to say that they do.
I thought Dracula landed in Yorkshire.
Who?
Didn't Dracula land in Yorkshire and Whitby?
Oh, I think you might have done, actually. Yeah, it's Whitby. Whitby's in. Don't ask me questions about what isn't in Yorkshire. You'll totally trip me up because I don't know anything.
Lots of Dracula set in Whitby. So I mean, you do have Dracula.
I do, but my game's he's just a LARPer. He just likes doing role play. That's it.
Well, that's what was the original book was about.
LARPing.
Well, the Dracula is like is a LARPer. That makes sense, actually. God, that would be that'd be a much better book. Oh my God.
That's actually the ending. Sorry for a more than 100-year-old spoiler, but what basically happens at the end is that they find Dracula, they hammer the stake in, and he doesn't disintegrate, and they all go, "Oh shit!" and look at Van Helsing, who is running towards the woods.
It's like the only person who didn't know that you were meant to bring a rubber stake. You know what I mean? He's actually brought the real stake, and everyone's just like, "Oh," because he's not called Van Helsing, of course. He's called Derek, and everyone's like, "Fucking Derek!" Every bloody time, Derek.
And Derek just goes, "Oh, look over there! There's a pigeon juggling."
That's it. He's just like he's legged it up. He's murdered another LARPer. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, and everyone's got to go for the trouble of covering up again. And it's just like, fucking Derek.
We're running out of space in the basement and everything.
Yeah, just like, oh, it's terrible.
And again, the tracks are just off on the horizon somewhere. One thing I really love is that you've really put your heart and soul into this. So many people, not anyone we've had on the show, obviously, but a lot of people that we have been in contact with, more or less, on the Twitters and such, hopeful game devs, get into it for, some of the not so good reasons, like I want to be Wagenai games, or I want to make Gabriel Knights, and then they go off and make Kathy Rain. You, however, seem to have just compartmentalized and said, I want to do what I love. I'm going to stick it on Steam and hope someone buys it. That's really commendable. I love that.
Thank you. That's very nice of you to say, and because I'm British, I cannot accept a compliment. I don't know how to, so I'm just going to deflect it by saying,
I'm used to
look
that.
over there.
There's a dove juggling.
Shit. A British person giving a British person a compliment. This is like a deadlock situation in real life.
No, it's just really embarrassing. We'll just both go bright red and just kind of just like not know what to do. We'll probably start giggling really bad.
I've stare at your shoes, shuffle a bit.
It's like this is this is really awkward. Oh, how's weather? Oh, you got snow where you are.
Cup of tea.
But
cup of tea. Yes, tea. Yes, tea. That's it. Tea is the grounding of everything that I do.
You really are English. Leading on from that question is, now that you have poured your heart and soul into something that is on Steam, people can buy it and get a glimpse into what is the inner core of Ms. Gore. Hey, that should be the fucking tagline, shouldn't it?
No, don't make that the tag. Make it. No,
dude,
let's come back to that, but no.
Yeah, okay, we'll circumvent that.
It now sounds that it's like a really bad Kiss song.
It does, doesn't it? But now that it's out, now the harsh realities will come in and say, now you have to promote this thing. Now you have to sort of find people to talk about it and get those sweet 100% Steam reviews. How do you go about that? As a single person, like a sole dev kind of.
So, very badly, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I obviously thought, who will definitely want to review it? It's going to be things like adventure game websites and stuff, and I didn't get a single thing on any of them. So that wasn't good. So that backfired. And I mean, at least one of them was kind enough to sort of say that they wouldn't be able, they just didn't have the time to get round to it. And I think just like all the actual main like games journalists, every single email that I sent out just disappeared into a black hole. I mean, that's the situation you're in, and that's the problem. Like, if no one knows who you are, and no one's expecting anything from you, it's just like there was 50 games that came out the same day mine came out, if you can believe that. And it's just like there's been 50 games every day ever since. So
yeah, I can't believe that. We've heard that tale a lot. So I guess this comes back to the whole pub gig game dev, like just
totally.
that groundswelling has to come in.
I don't know what happened. I mean, I was quite lucky that like on day one somehow it ended up on the front page and I think just because I've got a fair old number of Twitter followers, really. Just I don't know why or how. I mean, they're not following me for. I mean, they've never followed me for my game dev. Do you know what I mean? It's only quite recently that people have started following me because I'm a game developer. Or people have always just followed me just because I just tweet a lot, I guess. I don't know. So so yeah.
I think the Adventure Jam game had something to do with it. I mean, you ranked very high in that Adventure Jam.
Yeah, I mean, people thought it was really badly on graphics. Oh my god! And people did not like the art, but they liked the characters and the dialogue apparently, which was kind of what I was going for. As long as people like these weird, like I say, it's just like it's old ladies and just kind of just freaks and mutants and weirdos, and as long as like the main character in the middle of it's quite normal, and that kind of works. I love all that stuff.
And weirdos and mutants and freaks speak very well to adventure game fans, as we
totally.
Absolutely.
But the main thing that I wanted to do was to say, I just didn't want to do the typical thing that I've seen so much, which is like constantly referencing the classics. And I'm even loath to even mention this now. Just bringing the subject up kind of makes me feel really awkward. And I'm just like trying to like there's no purple tentacles at all anywhere in any of my games, and there never will be. I'm never going to make a joke about looking behind you or three-headed monkeys or anything like that. I think it's about time that people in this industry we just sort of, especially in adventure games, we hold up these, quite rightly, people who are absolutely brilliant as gods, and we seem to feel like we can't do our own thing very often. Like even today, I've just like seen people just doing kind of like adventure game developers just openly giving up that they will ever do anything as good as like Wadjet Eye games, and which I don't blame them for feeling that way, but that's not the attitude we should be having. We shouldn't. The players don't want us all to just be like, scraping around for scraps that the big boys leave behind. The players want us to do the absolute best thing that we can do, and sometimes that just means doing your own thing. That's right.
Do we have a round of applause sound on the soundboard, Gareth?
Let me see. What do we got? How about?
I think that
Oh,
it's not exactly a round of applause, but it'll do.
But I'm very glad you said that. I mean, that's a standing ovation statement right there, because a lot of every time you see a Steam page for an adventure game, more often than not, it's going to say classic point and click adventure game style or inspired by the Monkey Island series and such. And even, we had Francisco Gonzalez on the show, and he's very vocal about, we should not be courting nostalgia this much. I mean, it is 2018, ladies and gentlemen.
People Steve Alexander as well was sort of saying that he kind of it was frustrating for him because he's competing against people who, in his words, and you won't have heard this yet, Charlotte, but it will be out by the time this episode comes out, talking about how he's competing against people who are spending $100 on another original boxed copy of a Sierra game from the 1980s. They'll spend that, but they won't spend the £5 on the game that he's trying to run.
Yeah, that's just why nostalgia's a dead end. I mean, it's just they're going to just keep, people who like those games are just going to have those games in their Steam library and play them every now and again. Every couple of years, go back and have a look through them. But how do the only way we're going to ever reach a new audience, I think, is by doing new things. It's got to be new. You've got to do something different. I mean, I don't know if I honestly don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but I just think maybe who knows? Maybe just like maybe having really crappy looking art. Well, at least by adventure game standards. Do you know what I mean? Like my art is low res, and it's just because I just think, well, we've gone down the line of like really fancy art, and we go down that line, and that's what people expect, but it's really expensive, and it makes adventure games take forever to make, and I don't know, I just think it kind of keeps the genre in a little box off to the side.
Do you know what it is? You know what it is? I think one of the reasons why you at least deserve to be successful is because we started out, back in the adventure game heydays of having these comically inclined adventure games. You had funny adventure games, and everything got very, very serious for some reason.
Fine.
Like
People
really
love
deeply.
those though.
And now we've got. Just to bring up another author that we've had the pleasure of annoying, Mr. Jacob Janurka of Paradigm. You and Janurka, I have to say that. Yeah, that one.
That guy's great. I love his art so much. It's ridiculous. I mean, I know I keep saying about this thing about, we have so much art, but oh my God, his art is amazing. Jesus.
Oh, thank you very much. Sorry. You nailed it. I'm very proud of you.
We may have sampled him.
Yeah. Good. No, actually, he's here tonight. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Jacob. Thing is, he's also funny, and between the two of you, you're actually bringing the funny back into adventure games, but not in the, very importantly, not in the self-referential, haha, look, there's a purple tentacle, although, to be fair, there is a purple tentacle in his game, but it's only for one screen. Yes. But he at least he doesn't have, he has one I'm going to uninstall the game fourth wall joke. But for the most part, he is bringing some very original, funny stuff to it. And likewise, so are you.
Paradigm is brilliant. I love Paradigm. It's great. It's exciting to me, and it's one of those things that's what I like. I want to play new adventure games that are inspiring me to do like new things in my own stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that is the definition of an auteur, isn't it? I mean, taking chances, trying to bring new stuff to the table, and perhaps taking some risks. But I mean, it's needed at this point. It was also something Sean Mills brought up. We've talked to him as well. Yeah, we talked to this guy. We talked to this guy. Hey, we talked to John Romero once. Which holds a little relevance.
He has such lovely hair. Sorry, Gareth.
He has lovely hair. Absolutely lovely.
It really comes across well in an audio podcast.
Jinx.
Well, you could kind of hear whenever he was shaking his head, and it would kind of go whoosh.
It's like just a walking Timotei advert, which I think will only make sense to Gareth. But
John Romero, because you're worth it. No, what I actually wanted to say was that we've been name dropping all these people, but I think the one that really crystallized this was Sean Mills, who I believe was the guy who originally went Sierra fans are bitching and bitching about how they want these new games, these new stories, and something new and fresh comes along, and then just go, will we ever see the release of Space Quest 7? That's all there is to in their world. And so I think it's quite fresh that you have someone who are willing to think outside of the box, because a point that I keep bringing up whenever the subject is about nostalgia is that Sierra just kind of, I bring up Sierra a lot because, to me anyway, that's the fan base where you see a large propensity for nostalgia. But these old school gaming companies just kind of lucked into the style that we recognized them for, because that was where technology was at that point in time. And we tend to forget that they moved into a polygonal 3D space, which looked like somewhere between average and hawk shit, They hadn't quite nailed that to show that had Ken Williams had full HD graphics at his disposal, had he had VR at his disposal, he absolutely would have jumped at that,
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you go ahead, Charlotte.
Go on. No, it's just, I mean, I think Trolls actually linked this thing that, this interview, and they were talking about, this is like, from 15, 20 years ago or something, and they were talking about the future of adventure games, and they were all just like desperate to do serious stuff, and they were just hoping the technology would catch up to let them. Like, they felt like they had no choice but to do silly stuff, and just like like how much they were looking forward to, especially like Roberta Williams was so looking forward to just having more pixels and colors and just like CDs and stuff, and like what she was going to do with that.
Yeah.
The only rule that I've got when I make my game is that I don't have any arbitrary hardware. I don't emulate any hardware limits. That was, so a lot of people like making retro games are like, right, well, okay, we're going to do a 320 by 400 pixels. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's like, why would you do that? Or, so like all my games are fake 3D. I've got fancy shaders in it. I do lighting and kind
of lots of bloom.
Bloom, which I call steggy vision, but it's a lie. It's just bloom.
I mean, it kind of looks to me like a fancier version of something like The Last Door, which is kind of the Commodore 64 game that could have never existed because the resolution is incredibly low, but there are so many colors in it, and quite a few lighting effects as well, Yeah. So kind of like a combination that never could have existed. It's familiar, but it's fresh as well.
Brought my laptop to its fucking knees too.
Oh. Yes, sorry about that.
Shows no Microsoft Office can bring your laptops to their fucking knees.
That is true.
We talk about this, like the sort of adventure game community and that kind of stuff, and I feel like I've actually really not had a massive amount of choice in whether or not I've been kind of catering to them or not. I mean, I've started completely outside of it. I mean, like I said, it was just. I loved adventure games growing up, and they've been a huge part of my life, this huge influence. But it was only very recently that I sort of pivoted to that it occurred to me that I could try to make one. And then basically I've kind of gone from making one to sort of having an actual game out on Steam. And I think the whole process took about like 3 months or something, which is ridiculous. I mean, like they're just like patching the engine together and actually getting that content out. It was just so fast that nobody had a clue where it came from, and I think that's actually hurt me in a way because there's been no kind of build up for it or anything like that. I think the AG Aggies, the Adventure Game Awards thing, just like no, not a sniff or anything on Yorkshire Gubbins, but I didn't even know it existed. It's only like now I've been seeing now. Apparently there's an awards thing. I don't know. So I just think, well, it doesn't matter. I just think at the end of the day, I'm not sure that the audience for Yorkshire Gubbins so far has actually been adventure game players at all. I think I don't think the adventure game community actually knows this exists at all. I genuinely think that just the actual players are actually coming from somewhere else at the moment. Not a massive amount of them. I mean, it's not like the biggest game in the world, but it's But yeah, that's an interesting opportunity for me. I reckon. I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. Just get it back again.
That's an interesting point, actually. Because one thing I wanted to sort of timidly ask is that the one thing that grounds Yorkshire Gubbins in. See, I almost did it.
That was pretty good. Do it again.
Yorkshire Gubbins. Sorry, lost it.
Gubbins.
The one thing that kind of grounds it in the classic rules of adventure games, so to speak, is the UI, which is basically the LucasArts UI of the early 90s. With the 9 verbs.
Yeah, which totally contradicts everything I've just been saying, doesn't it?
Well, just that one thing. Just that one. Oh, and a couple of fetch quests, but we're all used to that. But so I just wanted to. I mean, I probably know the answer already. Has to do with short turnaround time and just a can I do it or not kind of thing. But was there any reason why you went with the 9 verb interface?
I think it's because 2 reasons. First reason, it's the one that I've always enjoyed using the most. So when all the games I love, they all had that interface. I never really got on when they switched to coins and stuff. That was it. It just turned me off straight away. I just lost interest completely, and then I don't know. I just never got on with the sort of single click thing. It just never worked for me.
See, Fred, Curse of Monkey Island is shit. No, I'm just kidding.
I just don't know.
I don't know what you're missing, or maybe you do.
They had their qualities, but I've just never enjoyed it, and I think it's because. For me, the idea is that, you can squirrel away all this extra little stuff in all the extra verbs and stuff. So you can put in all these little bits and these little extra jokes that people don't necessarily know they're there. So if you go, there's very, very early on in Humble Pie, you get to meet Steggy. Steggy is the main character. She's just this hopeless girl who kind of lives with her mum. She's never had a job, and she's never got any money, and she never does any chores or anything like that. She's a total nightmare, but she's your protagonist. She's who you get to play, and you get to sort of meet her mum, and her mum is sick to death of her, and Mum's just slobbing out in the slobbing out in the living room, watching the television, just hoping Steggy's going to move out. But if you go push Steggy's mum, Steggy's going to go, Mum, I'm pregnant, and Steggy's mum don't you push me, like that. It's just funny, and to me that is funny. You can put all this, it's an extra sense of exploration. I find that
very true.
Not only that, but you're circumventing some expectations there, because traditionally you would assume push means actually moving an object, but in this case you're pushing a person's buttons instead. I very much
kind of a linguistic joke there as well, which is pretty good.
It may not translate, actually. I must admit, it hadn't occurred to me that push may not have the same meaning in other languages, but I can't afford a translator, so it doesn't matter, I suppose. That's the other thing. You've got to be able to speak English, I'm afraid. I really want to translate it.
Well, I mean, that's in this day and age is rarely a problem if you're an English-speaking developer.
I don't know, though, because the minute you said that, I think I laughed a lot hard. Well, probably I don't know what it was, but I laughed a lot harder than Fred and Trolls did, because the second you said push, I'm pregnant. I don't know whether that's an English thing or whether it's an English thing rather than a sort of a generic people who speak the English language thing. But my immediate thought was, yes, don't push my mum.
You get it. You understand. Oh, it's nice to feel. It's nice to be felt. To be seen. No, that's not what I wanted to say. Hang on. Nice to be felt.
Gareth, what are you doing to our guest?
Seen, known. There's a word. There's a word that the kids say on Twitter, and I can't remember what it is because I'm old. So.
Yeah, just
seen,
add fam
seen.
to the.
That's the word. Seen. I feel seen.
Now add the word fam to the end of that sentence.
Oh.
Fam.
I'm sorry, no, but it's probably one of the best examples of a fourth wall joke without actually being a fourth wall joke, in that it linguistically circumvents your expectations of what the verb push actually does. I love that. And also, by the way, Steggy's mom is one of my favorite characters. The first time I laughed out loud in that game was when she went, "Bloody Nora, would you look at the size of that doggo?"
God, yeah.
Because
that's Holly. Poor Holly. Steggy's mum ruined her voice. She struggled with that so much, but she's so funny. She's so good. But yeah, she did it beautifully. Bloody Nora.
The best part is that it's all, there's this big crisis happening for Steggy, at least in her own mind, and every time she has this dramatic utterance, you get the sense that the mom is just catching on. Oh my God! And then it's completely about something else.
Oh God, yeah, she doesn't care. Steggy's mum doesn't just want Steggy to move out, doesn't care at all. And stuff like that, right? See, this is the kind of little thing that it's in every sitcom you've ever watched. It's in every sort of comedy show. It's in drama, it's everywhere. You see it absolutely everywhere, but you just don't see it in games. No one wants to put the mum in computer games for some reason. I don't know why. Like, mums exist, They do exist. They are a part of thing. And sometimes, just like, it probably says a lot that I don't have a particularly brilliant relationship with my own mum, but I did feel like I had to sort of make sure that Steggy's mum and Steggy didn't quite get on. But I just love that. Just that kind of it's really, and it's kind of, I'm hoping it's kind of relatable. Like people will, I don't know, at least maybe know people like that. I don't know.
Well, there's a bit of grounding because we are in a fantastical world with, as you say, robots and slug monsters and all that. So you need some grounding.
Yeah.
Games in general have been bad at having real-world characters in them, but I mean, they've also, and not to get into too much of a political point, but they've also been very bad at portraying women as well, in that there's usually only one or two types of women you're allowed in a game, whereas, I mean, Normal Dave is a really good character as well.
Oh, Normal Paul.
Normal Paul, that's it, Paul, yeah.
Oh, Normal Paul, yeah. I love Normal Paul. That's Holly as well doing that voice. She does this really good. I told her to do an impression of Danny from Withnail and I. I don't know if that's a reference that any of you know. Probably not. Oh well.
I've heard of
it, but I'm not sure.
Kind of went over my head. I just like how normal he is.
He's very normal. He's actually wearing a Halifax Football Club footy strip. That's what he's wearing. And he's not from Halifax, but he feels like he needs to wear a local footy team, colours. So that's why he wears his football. There's little details like that, professional, a little professional.
What are your goals with this whole game development thing? Are you just going to do Yorkshire Gubbins for the rest of your natural lifetime, or do you have plans for broadening your horizons, so to speak?
A
bit early to say, maybe.
Well, yes, I don't know. Honestly, I genuinely don't know. Like I'm working on the next bit for Yorkshire Gubbins, which is it's a bit of an experimental one. This next one, because the new. So we've got a new Doctor in Doctor Who, on the BBC coming up in August. Yeah. And the new Doctor is a Yorkshire lass. She's from Yorkshire. Well, she's got a Yorkshire accent. She's probably from space, really, officially. But she's got a Yorkshire accent. She's actually from Huddersfield, which is just round the corner. So I thought I would do Gubbins Doctor Who, basically. So it's going to be like a little homage. She's called the Professor, and you play the companion. So I'm doing a whole little bit on this. But it's more to experiment with my new fancy scriptable camera stuff and some of the new music. I've got a new music subsystem that lets me script music changes while you're actually in a room. So when something dramatic happens, I can actually then seek into a new type of music. So it's a bit more fancy than the current Yorkshire Gubbins, where I can only change the music when you change the room. So it's going to be it's a short thing. But it's very experimental. But that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to get episode 2 out, which has got something to do with, it doesn't really matter. It's just an excuse for a bunch of jokes, honestly. It really, really doesn't really matter what it's about. It's all rubbish. But
professional PR stuff
you just
right now.
Described our show. But what about your game?
We're all part of the adventure game community. We do things in the worst, most lackadaisical way possible. It's fine. It's normal. It's totally normal.
Actually, there's one thing I completely neglected to bring up about Yorkshire Gubbins. One thing we were talking about on Twitter was the transitions in music, because now I do remember that you actually did the music on your own and got very sick of the French horn while doing it.
The tuba.
The tuba, sorry, yes.
Tuba.
The tuba. My shuba has torn.
Yeah, don't tear your tuba.
Don't.
So sick of the tuba, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, but I wanted to do so. Like, this is the thing about, I sort of said, nostalgia and all that kind of stuff. Well, there are little things that are worth nicking. So I nicked the 9-verb interface, and I also nicked iMuse. I just thought that was brilliant. Everything about iMuse was wonderful. It made when I was little, it was the most magical thing I could possibly imagine. I just couldn't understand how they did it. It was amazing. Just like, you're playing a game, it doesn't matter when you go into the room, the music would just blend into the next piece of music, and it blew me away. It was my favorite thing, and it died. It was only ever in those little, handful of LucasArts games, and then when the MIDI music went away, that was it. It was gone, and it's just never been back. Everyone's just completely ignored it since then, and I've just been so. Sort of a bucket list thing is to put out a game with that in it. I want to try and bring it back, but I had to find a way of doing it that was just really simple, because obviously it took them 3 months just to do the music for Woodtick when they were doing Monkey Island 2. I mean, and I couldn't. I made the whole game in 3 months. I needed to do something that I could do in a week. So it's all a big horrible hack, and it's very, very quick and dirty. But I kind of got it working. And no one noticed, because no one noticed iMuse either. And that was way fancier than my stuff. But it doesn't matter. I know it's there, and that's it. It makes me happy. It just makes me happy. It's just that's the kind of thing, rather than sort of copying jokes, because you can't copy jokes. Jokes aren't, once you've told a joke, that's it. It's never funny again after that. I don't care what the meme community says. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect to keep laughing.
I don't know. I'm still laughing at the juggling doves, but that might just be me.
That's because you never tried to juggle a dove.
That's true.
You think it's funny. It's not funny.
No, it's not.
You try and juggle a dove, right? Well, juggle 3 doves. Do it 2 first. But even so, if you've not frozen them, they're just going to fly off. They are flappy bastards.
And if you've frozen them, you try getting a frozen beak through your scalp, see how you like it.
Yeah, very dangerous. If you catch them wrong, the beak goes through your hand, and that's it. That's the end of you.
Yes.
Doves have very, very, very specific bacteria in their hands and kill you in minutes. True.
All right.
I mean,
But I do. Sorry, I do.
Depends where the doves come from, though. But Yorkshire doves, yeah, they're lethal.
They're lethal. But I do agree.
Copenhagen doves are filthy, man. Absolutely filthy. I mean, sorry if I'm insulting any doves listening to this, but you guys should wash off.
If they do, they're frozen at this point. What do they care? No, the thing about iMuse, I absolutely concur, and I know that other people do as well. That whole thing with the transitioning music, everything seems to blend into one. It's one of those things that you only notice it when it's gone.
Yes.
Fact that you and again, this just goes back to put in what you love. One thing we should probably backpedal on, this show is supposed to be backseat designers. So one of the things that we have to contractually talk about is the actual design of the game.
Okay.
And pretty much just ask you what your approach to, puzzle design and such is. Because I mean, I can gather humor comes first. Humor, dialogue, and characters come first in this game. So how do you sort of string all of that together with a series of puzzles?
Yeah, basically that's literally exactly what I do. I write
cool. Thanks.
a bunch of jokes and I keep rewriting the dialogue until it makes me laugh. And then once it makes me laugh, that's it. I mean, I do technically start with some kind of puzzle dependency chart and I do all that kind of stuff. And I have a basic story. Like I come up with a narrative arc for the main character. So like I know what their little journey is and where they're going to end up and all that kind of stuff. And then I just fill it with a lot of bollocks and jokes and just kind of think of like my priority with puzzles is entirely about, is the solution to that puzzle amusing in some way? And if it's not, I will pretty much just try and cut it down to the absolute minimum possible. If it's that's my thinking. That I think that, and that's probably why my game's not particularly popular with adventure game. I'm not making these super brutal hard games that people are going to be picking over. I did it for people who just want to sit around on a Sunday and just have a nice time, So that's where the puzzles are aimed at. They're not. The puzzles are in there because I think that's part of this. That's Yorkshire Gubbins is that it is about making those puzzles. So maybe some future thing will kind of do something else. I don't know. I mean, I kind of hope not. I think I'd miss him. But the puzzles need to be another opportunity to tell a joke, and they need to just be fun. And I'm far more concerned with just making sure they're properly signposted and kind of make some kind of intuitive sense, so that's kind of mostly what I'm interested in.
All right.
I get scared that people are going to find them too hard, which I know is stupid, but like, I watch you play it through and you just like, boom, there you go, I've done the whole thing. In fact, I haven't even seen that this puzzle even exists and I've already solved it. That was you when you played it. So
what, me?
Yeah, you were.
I got stuck. I had to stop recording. Yeah, I got stuck at the end, or not at the end. The episode that I did on it.
No.
I stopped recording because I don't know. I wasn't really, I wanted to show a half an hour of the game. I didn't want to show all of it because, I actually wanted people to go out and support you and buy the game. So I played up to cheers. I played up to the point where you see in the video, and then I just went, okay, I'm kind of stuck here. I mean, I could probably solve it if I walk around and talk to a few more people and such, but you know what? I'm going to call it here.
Oh, I thought. Oh, okay.
But it is not. What I appreciate is that it's not a hard game, and for you, the dialogue and humor comes first, and the puzzle solving is there to just keep you incentivized to go off and have more conversations with strange people and robots.
I think so. They're like a narrative impetus. They're a thing that drives the story forward. So it gives people a reason to do things rather than just kind of. So, but there's a specific point in the game where you could technically do something without having a reason to do it. And I think it's where you try and get into the mysterious club. So there's this mysterious club and you can just go and knock on the door and the sort of Boris behind the door is going to ask you, why do you want to come in? And at that point, the player's actually got no flipping reason at all to go in there. They're literally just going through every single door and picking up everything they can. So Steggy just says, don't know, have a look around, pick up anything not nailed down. That's what she says. Just because, I mean, it's a bit forced. It's a bit fourth wally breaky, but technically that is kind of what Steggy's like. She will just steal anything that's not nailed down. So it's sort of fair. But that's the thing, puzzles like that, it's a bit hard. So everything else is just designed to try and just drive things forward and maybe give you something to look forward to. Like, I don't know, as you sort of feel the puzzle coming together, it should be something that is like good, that you like,
Mm-hmm.
That's the theory. I genuinely have no idea if it works or not. I mean, apparently it does, because no one's complained, and that is the ultimate metric. Someone should have complained by now, and no one has. So I'm kind of
That's a pretty good sign.
That's a good sign. I think actually that is a very good place to end it. I did have a last question, which was just sort of, well, we have to end this on a positive note. So do you have any advice for people who want to follow in your footsteps? You're free to answer that. But if not, I think that was actually a very good quote to end the episode.
Smooth, man. I would like to ask you a question, but I'm not going to do it. But here's the question, and you're free to answer it.
Okay.
Because we can edit shit,
I do actually have an answer to that.
Now.
Cool. Yes, it is.
No, I have an answer, and
cool.
I want to give the answer.
Yes, please.
I believe that they should copy Yorkshire Gubbins. They should copy the style. They should call it something like Dublin Gubbins or Copenhagen Gubbins.
Oh, that'd be good.
Glasgow Gubbins. And they should say, this game has been heavily inspired by the great genius Charlotte Gore and the game Yorkshire Gubbins. And I just need 10,000 game developers just doing that, and then they can all help me promote my game in the same way that we all keep helping to promote fucking Ron Gilbert's games. You know what I mean? So that is my answer to that question.
I couldn't have asked for a better answer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Been a pleasure having you on the show. I don't think we've laughed this hard since Stephen Alexander's baby started yapping in his ear while we were asking him serious questions.
Funny baby. That was a funny baby. Anyways.
Well,
really funny
the baby. I mean, the baby was not called Jeff Goldblum, so there is that.
You've got to
That's a mistake, if you ask me. I think if you get a chance to name something, you should just name it Jeff Goldblum. So if you get a cat, Jeff Goldblum. Get a dog, Jeff Goldblum. Get a baby, call it Jeff Goldblum.
We will suggest that for his next daughter.
I will in fact call up my girlfriend and suggest to her that whatever we get in the way of pets and or children and or a combination of that should be named Jeff Goldblum, and then just like keep going forward. Jeff Goldblum the first, Jeff Goldblum the second, Jeff Goldblum the third.
Oh God!
This is what you can't hold on to a girlfriend, Fred.
I'm just imagining Fred's sex dungeon with the gimp in it. Hello, Jeff Goldblum. Shall I get the toys?
Goldblum, not Goldbroom.
I just sort of tripped over me tongue there. It happens. Yes.
Thank you for having me on your podcast. That was very nice of you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for keeping us very entertained and enlightened as well.
No, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I fucking did it again. I have to stop paying you compliments. You get all weird. You should. Yes, you should go find Yorkshire Gubbins, if you can in fact spell it, on Steam. It's Gubbins. It's Gybboo. Oh God, I don't know what I'm spelling now. I've got to be careful. It's a funny joke, but potentially I'm spelling something really rude. Better not. Boobis, something like that. I don't know, something like that. All right. So PR Magnificence Ace #1 Charlotte Gore can also be followed on Twitter at Charlotte Gore. Interestingly, no relation to that Depeche Mode composer, I assume.
Maybe, I don't know.
No. Okay.
I was found in a box, so.
Yes. I forgot. We shouldn't get into the origin story.
I'm sorry.
A
box with the words "This is your personal Jesus" written on it.
It actually said this baby is called Jeff Goldblum on it. That's what it said.
That's funny. That's what happened to the real Jeff Goldblum as well.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's a big dramatic story, but I've got to wait. I'm going to put out my memoirs. That's when you'll hear about that.
Yes. Right. In adventure game form.
No. This will be an actual book. It will be gold plated. the whole thing. It'll weigh a ton, but it'll be great, and it'll cost like £500. But people will pay it, because by the time it comes out, I'd be like a legendary adventure game developer. At which case, everyone will love me. So I know that's the future. I can see it coming.
I don't even want to say anything to take you away from that dreamy little cloud you appear to be sitting on.
I hope you don't think that I actually really mean that, by the way.
No,
this is the exact opposite of what I actually feel. Just, it's irony. We do this thing called that. Oh, God, shit.
We have a British person co-hosting the show. We are well intimately acquainted with the concepts of irony and sarcasm. We are, however, very stupid people, so sometimes we don't quite get there.
Oh, no, it's just autism. Don't worry, it's fine.
Jesus fucking Christ. Speaking of fantastically stupid people, you can find us at BS Designers on Twitter. We have an open Facebook group where you can discuss things that have happened in the show or previous show, or perhaps indeed future shows if you are somehow clairvoyant. It's over on facebook.com/groups/backseat designers. And
I wasn't following you on Twitter. Sorry. Oh shit, I've interrupted you. Do your thing. Sorry.
We said a couple of seasons ago we really have to shorten down these outro things. They're getting way too long and stupid. And it was like,
Gareth and I said it, and you complied, and
now it's all gone to shit. I'm love it.
I'm so sorry.
I love it. We do have a Patreon. We have to get that in there because we take yearly pilgrimages to Adventure X and possibly even in the future other conventions and shit and such, so you can meet us and punch us in the face in person. So that's mostly where the Patreon funds go. Pretty much all of it, actually. So please go and find patreon.com/backseatdesigners. And of course, you can subscribe to all of this nonsense and find the blog posts and all of this other shit over on backseatdesigners.com. So, having finally reached the end of that intro spiel, whatever. The episode's coming up later.
Wow, he's breaking.
Say goodbye, Fred.
Fucking Derek.
Say goodbye, Professor.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Charlotte.
What do I say now?
No, nothing. That's the first time we've asked a guest to say goodbye. I just wanted to hear it in your accents.
Goodbye.
It's a goodbye for me as well. We'll see you next week.
No more for today.